Hey guys, my name is Crystal May and welcome to Yoga for Runners. As a marathon runner, I've noticed that this kind of practice is not only a really great release onto the joints and the muscles, but it's actually really complementary for a speedy recovery. So if you're in the middle of a training, I guarantee that this practice will help you. We're going to start off by opening up the calves. So you're going to take one of your blocks, you're going to place it in front of your right foot. Now take the ball of the right foot, place it onto the block, and then your left foot can really go wherever you feel stable. From here, you're going to take your right heel, drop it down towards the ground, and the elevation through the front of the foot is going to give you a good stretch through the calves. Now from here, you can actually stand tall. I find a great isolation into the calves if I stand tall. However, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can always start to hinge forward at the hips, folding the body forward, and if you can't touch the ground, another block becomes your friend to kind of give you a little bit more stability and balance. Now that being said, folding forward, not folding forward, it's completely up to you. It's whatever's going to serve you more. And so try them both and see what you like. We're going to hold this and allow the muscles to open at their own pace. Now if you're deciding to lean forward in this, I would encourage you to create a little bit of an anterior tilt in your pelvis. So you're going to put a small bend into the knees, and then you're going to take your seated bones and you're going to lift them straight up towards the sky. Now with that, you're going to slowly start to straighten out the legs so that you can literally feel the bowl of the pelvis tilting forward, and you're going to find even more pull into the back line of the body. Hold here. Okay, take 2 more breaths from here. Okay, and then if you have high or low blood pressure, I would almost recommend that you just gently pull that block out from underneath your foot and come down into a squat instead of standing back up. Whew, I can feel that. If you want to just stand and you feel fine, do whatever feels good for your body. I just find that I have low blood pressure, and if I stand up really quickly, it can make me lightheaded, and so you can avoid that just by coming into a squat. Okay, we're going to switch feet, so you're going to take your block, stick it in front of your left foot, take the ball of the foot onto the block, right foot goes wherever you feel comfortable, take that heel, drop it down towards the ground, hold here, you can stay tall, or again, you can fold the body forward. And now from here, you're going to do that same adjustment. So if you're in a forward fold, you're going to bend into the knees, take your seated bones, lift them up towards the sky, stay here, and then you're going to slowly straighten out those legs best you can. You may not get them fully straight again. Don't worry about it.
2 more breaths here. Okay guys, now from here you're going to take that block out from underneath your foot, come back into that squat, and allow your blood to just kind of even itself out again. Okay, from here we're going to do a combo pose, which means that we're going to do 3 poses on one side before we switch. So, you're going to come up towards the top of your mat, take your blocks with you if you have them. You're going to take your right foot and you're going to step it to the back of your mat into a generous lunge. Now drop your knee down towards the ground. You're going to take your feet maybe about hip width distance apart, but you can always take it wider or more narrow if you feel comfortable. Just go where your comfort level is. Now from here you're going to take your blocks, you're going to pile them on top of each other, one flat, one tall, and you're going to stick them underneath your right hand. Now your left hand can just kind of rest on your leg. This is my favorite way to set this up. Not everybody likes it this way, so I'll give you other options. But you're going to start to square off your hips, and then take the tailbone, you're going to anchor it down towards the ground. So it's less of a tuck, and just think like tailbone drops towards the mat. And then from here, you're just going to lunge a little bit into that front thigh, and you're going to feel a stretch right into that right hip flexor from here. Now if you find that this is too heavy, the taller your spine gets, the more it pulls into the front line. So if it's too much, just take your blocks forward, lean forward into it. There's nothing wrong with it. You can even take hands down towards the ground. Again, experiment, play with it all, and see what serves you. Take 2 more breaths from here. And take hands forward. And you can actually take your blocks with you. You're going to take your hands forward and you're going to take your front foot and either walk the front foot forward or take your back knee and walk it just a little bit further back. And then you're going to straighten out the front leg into a half split. Ardha Hanumanasana, which literally means half split. Okay, now from here you're going to take a bend into the front knee. You're going to take your seated bones and lift them straight up towards the sky. So literally stick your butt up. Okay, I'm going to start this timer. That's it. Now from here, you're going to take the leg and just slowly straighten it out. And you're going to find that that same anterior tilt you did for the calves is going to serve you the exact same way in this hamstring stretch. And so you might even get back into the calves for this one. But it's more of an isolation towards the hamstrings. That being said, wherever you're tightest is where you're going to feel it. So try and take the left hip, pull it back just a little bit so your hips come a little more square, and then take the pinky side of your foot and pull that back just a little bit, and then hold here. So now try and soften out through the shoulders. Think lift the seated bones, lift the heart forward, and then if you want to make it deeper, you can always bend into the elbows to send the heart towards the toes.
stay with the breath. Try and soften out anywhere that you feel tension is building. Shoulders, face, jaw, just anywhere that you're starting to clench in. Try and relax as much as you feel like you can in this pose. Give me 2 more breaths here. Okay, stay with me, don't hate me. You're gonna lunge back in for a second round of dragon. I can hear the moaning from here. Okay, you're gonna lunge back in to your low lunge. It's the exact same pose we just did. We're gonna do this for half the time, okay? So stay with me. You're going to take, again, set yourself up with your blocks however you want to. There's no wrong answer on how to do this. Make your small adjustments. Square off your hips, take your tailbone, drop it straight down, lengthen out through the spine. Make sure that the core is supporting your back. Stay here, and then lunge really subtly into that front thigh. Half the amount of time, I promise you can do this, okay? If you were really like, no, crazy lady, I can't do this. For one, ladies, not appropriate. And for two, don't be shy to come down. If you need to take a break, take a break. It's 1 minute of your practice or 30 seconds of your practice, and so you're not gonna miss out by missing one pose. You're halfway there. I always forget that I don't have to talk to you here because the mic's actually here. So I don't actually have to look at you, but I like to look at you. Okay, all of this is being edited out. Take 2 more breaths here. Okay guys, from here we're going to go back into a child's pose. So you're going to take the blocks, just push them to the side, hands down. Be gentle with your body. You're just going to pull the pelvis back and then just come out of the pose however your knee is allowing you to. Knees together, knees apart. I promise there's no wrong answer. Sink the hips back towards the heels and release out into your child's pose. You know you have 2 legs, so you know we gotta do that again. So, dragon, you're gonna come back up to the top of the mat. You can approach it from where you are, or you can come back up to stand. You're going to take the left leg, step it to the very back of your mat into a generous lunge. Drop the knee down towards the ground, set yourself up, knee over ankle, knee in line with the hip. Does not mean your feet have to stay hip width distance, they can go wider. And then you're gonna set yourself up so that you have support. So again, make yourself comfortably uncomfortable. And then you're going to take the hip, pull it back, drop the tailbone down, lengthen through the spine a little, soften the shoulders, and then lunge into that front thigh. You may even have to adjust. I always have to kind of find my comfort in this space. Comfort is a loose term, but you know what I mean. And check on your alignment again. You're always going to want to make this more comfortable. Your body's going to naturally try and go towards the comfort. And so try again, just like subtle adjustments to kind of make this more supported, more aligned, and then just kind of lean into the discomfort a little bit more. Now if you find your back knee is getting a little bit grumpy, don't be shy to just stick anything underneath it, a block, a towel, just any kind of extra padding. Your patella usually doesn't love, your kneecap doesn't usually love a ton of pressure, and so just the tiniest bit of padding can make a huge difference to this pose. Take 2 more breaths. Okay, from here you're going to take hands forward. You're going to take the blocks with you, and you're going to take the front foot, either walk it a little bit further forward, or the back knee a little bit further back, or both if you need to. And then you're going to start to straighten out through that front thigh into your half split. Take a little bend into the knee. Take your seated bones, lift them up towards the sky, and then stay there and slowly start to... You may not cut the leg fully straight, it doesn't matter. If you're feeling the stretch, you're doing the stretch. And so that's kind of the rule. And so worry less about what it should look like and a lot more of what kind of communication you're getting. I pull back the pinky side of the foot just a little bit, and then just hold here. If this one doesn't suck, you can probably go a little bit deeper. Your hamstrings are always going to be uncomfortable to stretch because they're such incredibly strong muscles, and we tend to pay a little bit less attention to them, especially runners. Almost there. Okay, go back into your dragon. I promise it's half the time. Stay with me. Lunge back into that front thigh. Set yourself back up. So take the time. Don't worry about rushing. There's no urgency. And so just take the time to set yourself up. Knee over the ankle. Pull back through the hip a little. Drop down through that tailbone. Lengthen. And then lunge into that front thigh from here. Hold here. Try and roll the shoulders back a couple times. This is usually the first place you're going to gain some tension. So try and soften this out a little bit. Take 2 more breaths from here. That's it, and then you're going to go back to your child's pose again.
Guys, from here we're going to do one more hip opener. We're going to go into pigeon. So you're going to reach back into a downward facing dog, and you're going to take your right leg and extend it forward so that your right knee goes towards your right wrist, and you're going to rest down onto your shin. Now take the back knee, walk it just like a touch further back behind you. You're going to lengthen out through your stance, and then you can actually stay tall if you want to. If you find that this is a deeper stretch through the left hip flexor from here, awesome. I find that if you lean forward, you get a little bit more pressure into the right hip, which to me is the target of pigeon. Please take this pose however it serves you. So tall, leaning forward, down on your belly, whatever you feel good about. We're going to be here for a shorter amount of time, so stay with me here. If you want to make this just a little bit deeper, if you take your back knee just a touch further back, and then even take your elbows and walk them a little bit further out towards the side, it will drop your belly closer down towards the ground. Now you can keep going, and you can release down so that you can rest onto your forehead or chest. Just be aware that your whole back isn't rounding to try and make this a little bit deeper. So now if you find that it's actually too much, don't be shy to put blocks or anything underneath your elbows and elevate yourself a little bit so that it's less intense. The closer down you get towards the ground, the more external rotation you'll feel in that front hip. We're going to stay in our pigeon pose, but we're going to add a quad stretch. So you're going to come back up onto your palms. You're going to bend into the back knee, and you're going to reach back with usually the same hand as you, a little bit easier to work with. But same hand to same foot, you're going to grab a hold of it and then just gently pull it in towards your glutes. So it doesn't matter how close it gets, stop when you feel a good stretch into your quads. Try and allow your knee to stay lined up with your hip best you can, and then you're just going to hang out here for just half a minute. So it's just going to be a shorter amount of time. Now if you feel like you can't touch the ground, don't be shy, put a block underneath your hand. Just support yourself any way that you need to, so that you're not just like struggling to find balance. Even a block underneath your left glutes will just hold you up in this position. And then you're going to slowly release, take that back, and reach back into your downward facing dog. Okay, walk the feet out, find a little bit of movement. And then we're going to switch sides in pigeon. Take your left leg forward, rest down onto your shin. Make sure your knee is happy as it reaches out towards the wrist. Take the back knee just a little further back, and then you're going to drop down onto the elbows or stay tall. Any variation that you want to do that. Again, don't be shy to even experiment during the time. I know this is kind of a more yin style practice, which means that it's kind of encouraged to be still and to hold the poses. But that being said, if you're still trying to like learn the communication, move. Don't be shy to take the time to like spend 5 breaths here, move 5 breaths there, and see what feels the best for you, because it's not going to be the same every time you step on your mat. And so your yoga practice is called a practice for a really good reason. This is the time for you to experiment and play. And so don't be shy to do that. Now again, if you want to make this deeper, back knee crawls a little bit further back, maybe elbows go out a little bit further towards the side. Do what's going to serve you. If none of that works for you, just come back up to where you were. And come back up onto your palms. You're going to bend into that back knee again, grab a hold of the foot,
Slowly pull it in towards your glutes. Once you feel a stretch through the quads or the hip flexors, stop there. It doesn't need to get much further than that. And take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly start to release that foot down and reach back into your downward facing dog again. Okay guys, we've gotten to our last pose. This is arguably one of the most important ones that I'm going to offer you today, and this is to isolate the IT band. There is a lot of debate about whether you can or cannot stretch the IT band. All I know is that when I do this stretch, my knees release so much. All of the tension that's built up in my knees releases quite a bit from this specific one. And so I'm such a huge fan of this one. Very simple, everyone can do it. If you find that when you fold forward, you can't touch the ground, so if you get into a forward fold and you can't touch the ground comfortably, you're sitting more here, blocks are gonna become your best friends for this one, okay? So you're gonna come back up to stand. You're gonna take the big toes to touch. Take your right foot, scoop it behind your left so that your pinky toes are on the same side. They don't need to be perfectly parallel, you just want to scoop the legs so that they're crossed. Now lengthen out through the spine, and you're going to slowly start to fold the body forward, and you're going to do exactly what you did with the first stretch, lift your seated bones up towards the sky. I actually like to start on blocks and then just kind of bend my elbows from there, keeping the spine as straight as you can. You're going to feel a deep stretch through the outside of the leg parallel to your femur. The IT band runs literally from knee all the way up to the outside of the pelvis, and so anywhere where you're feeling the tightest, that's where it's going to feel like it's going to pull. Try not to let any of the pressure go into your back, and if you find that this is not enough of a stretch for you, you're going to take your top body and you're going to walk it towards the left side. As you walk away from your feet towards the left, you're going to find that this again just pulls all the way across the body. Take one more breath here. And then you can do what we did with the calf stretch. You can kind of unravel the feet and then come back down into a squat, or if you feel comfortable, just come right back up to stand. So you're gonna come back up, take your big toes to touch, take your left foot, scoop it behind your right, pinky toes are on the same side, lengthen out through the spine, fold the body forward. That's it. Either stay center, you can always walk towards the right side, do what's gonna serve you, try and lift your seated bones up, and then maybe hinge a little deeper over top of those hips.
Take one more breath from here. And then you're going to unravel your feet, come back down into your squat again, and take a couple deep breaths. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for coming. This has been Yoga for Runners. You can do one of these poses, all of these poses, half of these poses, two of these poses. I promise you, no matter what you offer yourself, if you do at least a couple after you do even a short run, it makes such a huge difference to your tension, to your recovery, and to just your comfort level in general. So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you have a beautiful day, and namaste.